Hello, and welcome back to Life Mastery, Find Your Path to Success. Thank you for being with us today. I hope you've enjoyed the day up until now. And we have our final speaker coming on in a little while. We have an intuitive soul mentor coming on. This is going to be a fascinating talk and presentation. Really looking forward to hearing what Hannah Esselinka's got to say. Once Hannah's finished, we will have a little bit of a tie-up for the day, and then at 4 o'clock we will have our Q&A session. We may have that a little bit earlier depending on how many questions we've got coming through and how many people we've got waiting on there to talk. So without further ado, let's bring on Hannah. Let's just go to the waiting room and bring her in. Good afternoon, Hannah.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. It's great to be here.
Really looking forward to your talk. If you're ready to go, I will hand you over to the Zoom controls to you and you can crack on.
Okay, thank you. Cheers, John. I'm ready. So, hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I am so glad that we're here, and I'm going to be throwing some stats at you straight away. And these are quite sobering stats, actually. And the first one is, did you know that 98% of people actually die without fulfilling their dreams? And they take their dreams that they have in their heart with them to the grave. And that's just so tragic because of the number, how big it is. I did some research on this, and it basically means that people are happy to live unhappy lives, whether you're doing that consciously or, subconsciously. And data from the Global Dreams Index survey shows that over half of the world's women's population have actually given up on their dreams. Now, whether that's because they don't feel like they're living their true purpose or they've just given up, these are questions that need to be answered, really. But most of them are unsatisfied with their lives. And the killer, this is the killer, wait for it. The number one top regret of the dying, as witnessed by an Australian palliative nurse called Bronnie Ware, and she did this research, I read it in 2012, 8 years ago, in the Guardian newspaper. The number one top regret, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. So, what I've realized from that, is that time is a gift. Time is really a gift, and none of us really know how long we're here for. So if you want to live true to your heart, you don't want to deny who you really are. You need to find your purpose and what your purpose actually really is. So the problem is, guys, that most people are really stuck, and they won't admit that they're stuck. They deny that they're stuck, and then they deny that they deny that they're stuck. So most people are actually living in this kind of double denial. And I've seen that time and time again. What I want to ask all of you out there right now is, if you had a magic wand, and if there were 3 things in your life that you could change, what would you change right now? And I'm going to give you a minute to have a think about that. And please think of one thing specifically, because you'll need to take it forward into my presentation a little bit later on. So this could be anything. It can be anything simple from moving house, or it can be something more complex. It can be a relationship. It can be finances, or it could just be a frustrating situation that you're just, going around and around in that hasn't been resolved. And so now if you take away that magic wand, I hope you've all got those 3 things written down or thinking of them. what's stopping you from actually changing what's going on there? Why are you stuck? So this is a universal problem, guys, because it's not something that just affects the UK. I've had people talk to me about it from Dubai, from Hong Kong, from Australia. And the problem is that we get used to being unhappy. We get used to being stuck. And I can almost hear some people now thinking to themselves, well, no, I'm not stuck. So that's the denial that I'm talking about. Because the thing is, I think a lot of people are really afraid to step outside of their comfort zone. So they just accept mediocrity and they give up. And the sad thing is that you've given up on being the best version of yourself. And like I said, this isn't limited to just the UK. This is everywhere around the world. For a lot of people, this affects a lot of people. And I know that 98% almost sounds like a cliche. But Bronnie Ware, that nurse, wrote that research, did that research 8 years ago. And from what I've been looking at, what I've been seeing, nothing much has really changed, you know? And why is that? Why are we giving up? Why are we giving up on who we really are, on becoming the best of ourselves? Do we not think it's important? Or is it because we've given up on our true soul purpose? A lot of the people I've spoken to, they say they know they should be doing this. They feel they should be doing that. They understand that there's a greater reality waiting for them, but they're so afraid to step out of the comfort zone that's been either created for them, or they're afraid of letting people down. And so they stay in this kind of shitty situation. And that's the sadness around it, really. There is a lot of sadness around that, because on the one hand, they're on the side of the fence that is really, you know, they're choosing to stay where they are. But on the other side, there is joy, fulfillment, happiness. Even just moving a little step further, you know, would enable you to see a bigger picture in your life. So I don't want you guys to just watch this video or, you know, as another talk, or, you know, we watch videos after videos, talks after talks, we read self-help books after self-help books, and yet we still feel that we don't really shift to the level that we really need to move on from a situation that's causing us a lot of stress, anxiety. You know, we live this mediocre life where we let bosses be really shitty to us, or families, people in the family. It's often circles around us. So it could be friends, family, it could be anybody that's close to you. I've seen people come here who've had big walls up from their mothers, their fathers, and they're just afraid. It's the fear that holds you in this place, you know. But what I want to say is, how can we make that shift? Because that shift can be made, and that shift must be made, because otherwise we just end up being one of those statistics that I was talking about. And nobody wants that. People, you know, I would ask you to think about whether you want to get to that stage of your life where weeks are going by, months are going by, years are going by, and you're still stuck in a state that you know you can walk out of if you find the courage in yourself to do it, and you find the right motivation to help you to do that, the right person to help you. So, sorry. What I've found with all my research that I've done, and I'm really glad the speaker before this spoke about meditation, because that is such an important tool, such an important, vital tool to healing yourself, what I call your inner self. Because the subconscious mind speaks its own language. From having talked to hundreds of people and helped them, I know that we're constantly being given signs by our subconscious mind if things are not right, you know, and that can be in the sign, that can be images, symbols, reoccurring dreams, or you can get flashes of inspiration where just for that moment you step out of that reality into another reality, and you know you can get there. Your soul or your inner self, whatever you want to call it, has taken you on that journey, and you've seen it, you've seen a glimpse of it. But then you come back to the next day and it's the same thing happening again, you know, the same habits, the same conscious mind driving you through things. And I think people get really used to things like distractions. You know, you get people who are drug addicts or alcoholics, and not just them by any means, and I certainly don't mean to be disrespectful to them, but what I'm saying is people don't deal with their problems because they just find distractions, or they're being put off, They're putting the issue off. Tomorrow never seems to come. Tomorrow I'm going to start to deal with it. I know I can do better. And these are really excuses that we're only making to ourselves. And the only person we're really hurting with that is ourselves, is our inner being. You know, that's what is difficult for me to see that. And I have seen that with a lot of people. And the other thing is that you can be cynical about it. You can just say, oh, it doesn't work. You know, you can be watching my talk or somebody else talk and just thinking it doesn't work. Why bother? You know, next book, next video, next self-help tool, that sort of thing. And I'm certainly not saying that people don't try, but if you're not getting to the root of the problem, then there is an issue there. There is an issue there. And I think by listening to the language of the subconscious mind, we actually can shift more towards being kinder to ourselves, which enables us to be kinder to other people. And we develop empathy, we develop compassion, confidence, freedom, and ultimately fulfillment. I'm not going to say happiness because I think happiness is relative. And I think happiness, you can still be happy and having a kind of thoughtful, reflective day. You know what I mean? You don't have to be jumping for joy. You can be thoughtful. You can be writing a memoir. You can be watching something and you can be happy. You can be content. So for me, fulfillment is the better word because that's what I think it's about, you know, even though happiness is a great word, but I think fulfillment is good. And I'm going to use an example here of a lady called Fiona. That's not her actual name, but, you know, I've changed it for the course for this presentation. But she came to me at our very first meditation session that I did many years ago. And I remember after the meditation, she was very frustrated and very stuck in where she was in her life. She came up to me and she actually said, oh, I saw my book of life in the meditation. There was a massive book and I was reading it. And as I was reading it, there was a cat on the book and it just wouldn't let me turn the page off my book. So I was stuck. I was just seeing this cat and the cat wouldn't let me change. And I said, well, what's that cat? You know, I did Google it, but there were so many different interpretations. I thought it's none of those. And she said to me, I think I'm distracting myself too much and I can't go to the next chapter of my life. And that's the stage I'm at. And this is the thing, guys, this is what I'm saying. When you learn to tap into your subconscious, like you go deep within, it can give you so many different messages. And they are so different from what you see in your conscious day-to-day goings and wherever you're, you know, whatever you're doing, it's so different. So I think after we distract ourselves, we need to find a way to figure out how we move forward. So who am I? My name is Hannah Esselink. I've been working in public relations and communications for 18 years now for corporate organizations, for public sectors, for charities, for individuals. And I've loved it. I've loved it. I've loved it. It's been a real journey. It's been a real great time to get, you know, great stuff into the news, watch your news flash by on the BBC or Sky or whatever. But it's also been a time of soul searching, like deep soul searching, you know, is this really what I want to do? And I've been an intuitive mentor for 10 years, a psychic and tarot reader for 15 years, and I've run meditation workshops for the past 6 years. And I'm also an author. And there's my book, The Vanishing Cafe. So my mission, guys, is to help people become unstuck, whatever that means for you guys out there. That's exactly what I want to work with you on. I've worked with over 500 people plus in 3 years because I'm dedicated to helping people become unstuck. I really love that feeling of knowing that someone is going out of the door and they found some part of themselves that they thought that they'd lost or that has been buried so deep that they've just refused to look where their heart is, you know? And that's why, because I'm tired of seeing all the misery around me. I know what it's like to feel empty and hollow, lonely, depressed, destructive, you know, destructive relationships. But the thing is, if you give up on yourself first, you've kind of given up on a lot of things already, you know? And once you start to open yourself up, it's like that flower that's been closed, you really start to blossom. And that's what I help people to do. And if I can even serve one person doing that, I feel like I'm really helping humanity in some way. So what is intuitive soul mentoring? Ultimately, It is about what I've just said, about learning to be kind to yourself, raising your confidence and your vibration, freeing yourself from the shackles that really hold you back, but really knowing what those shackles are, because sometimes people come to me for readings, for example, and they think it's something completely different to what it actually is that's holding them back, you know. And then they're so surprised when I say, well, look, this isn't the challenge, this is the challenge you're having. And they're like, oh yeah, that's true. And then we start to work on those lines. And what I do is I use quite various tools to help people, including giving them homework to do, because I think that's quite important. And I'll give them tailor-made combination of intuitive soul mentoring and spiritual work, which includes really in-depth readings. And it's amazing what comes up in those readings. Sometimes things have come up in those readings that are people's challenges. I have 2 challenge columns, and they're amazed at what comes up because they've long forgotten about it, but it's still there. It's still kind of rolling around in their subconscious mind, or in their life in some way. They've left a door open. It's a revolving door, and this thing keeps on going round and round and round. And that's what we get to the bottom of. And the tools I use include tailor-made meditations, which I write myself, special affirmations, even prayers sometimes, because some people, their challenges are so deep that we believe in the power of prayer, and we do use that. We do use that as a cleansing tool, and it works. So what I help people do is identify any challenges or pitfalls that they're facing, whether it's now or in the past, and move them forward from that. And like I said, it's an exciting process, and it does open you up to another dimension in yourself, because I believe we are holistic beings, mind, body, spirit. You know, we are a combination of that. And to get to that point with people is actually really, really thrilling, because you can see they just light up and they're just like, wow, you know, and they move forward on the path that they know that they've come here to do. And it isn't always easy. It isn't, because sometimes you have to open a whole can of worms to get to the bottom of what's causing that problem. But then the healing itself is miraculous. It's beautiful. And it's an exciting healing process. It's designed to empower you to find your true purpose. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about my personal story here. There's quite a few, but I thought this one was very relevant, because the picture of that gentleman there is a guy called, it's a very beautiful picture taken by a photographer in East London. It's a guy called Alan Osborne, and I was helping him with some PR work. He was an artist, an abstract artist. And my story goes back to the late autumn of 2012, so end of November, beginning of December, when I woke up one day and I just felt so bad, so bad. I looked in the mirror and I was like, what the hell's happening to me? I was depressed. I was low. I was feeling like I didn't have hope in the world. I felt like nobody was really caring. And I just felt really, really down, really down. And I was going to my corporate job, taking the district line into Westminster Station, because I was working for a government organization there. And I just hit a wall. I just hit a wall. And I just remember thinking, if I don't deal with this, I'm going to have a breakdown. Something's not right. And I want to rewind that story a little bit further back to 2010, because that's when I started to work with Alan. And the thing about Alan was he'd been a very successful Fleet Street publisher, making a lot of money. And he was an older gentleman. And then he lost his business, lost a lot of money. It all spiraled out of control, and he started to drink, and he became an alcoholic. So when I met Alan at the University of East London, he was a fine art, older, mature student. I was working in their press office, but I'd stopped and started to work for him. And because I love art, and I loved his art. It was inspirational. It was gold and silver, and it was just beautiful, beautiful, like it just fell down from heaven. And I was like, this is my ticket out. This is my way out of the corporate world. I am going to be with Alan. We're going to be together, working together as friends, for a long time. And then the first exhibition, I got him onto BBC London News. It was about Greek contemporary mythology. He did really well. All the paintings sold. And he started to drink again afterwards, after that success. And I said, Alan, I can't work with you if you're going to be like this. You have to stop this. So he was going to AA meetings regularly. He started to go. He was getting better. He was getting stronger. He was a Christian gentleman, so he had faith, which was beautiful, actually. It was beautiful to see, you know. And then in 2012, earlier on, we were invited to do an exhibition about India. So he painted these beautiful pictures about India. And it was at the Nehru Centre in Mayfair, the exhibition. And it was managed to get onto Sunrise Radio, which is a Punjabi radio station. We got it onto the local news in East London, the Wharf, the Newham Recorder. And then I started my new job in the corporate city. Like I said, go back November 2012, waking up that day feeling the shittest I felt for like ages. And I used to call Alan 8:30 in the morning before I started my job. He used to live with his parents, believe it or not, in East Ham. So I called him. I was like, Alan, how are you? He didn't answer. It was his mum. And she said, oh, he's not very well. He's just babbling a lot. We think he's got the flu. Try at lunchtime. I was like, okay, no problem. I phoned back at lunchtime. I phoned back and his dad answered. And I said, hi, how's Alan? Can I talk to him? We need to talk about what we're doing. And he said, no, you can't talk to him because he's just passed away. I mean, just like that, gone. And I remember coming out of that, I was in the corridor out of the press office, and the room just literally spun around and I just burst into tears. And I called my senior press officer and I said, I can't go back in. You're not going to believe what's happened. And they gave me 4 days off, bless them. They were lovely. They gave me 4 days off. And I was gutted. I mean, I walked all the way around Westminster, St. James Park. I walked all the way to Victoria that day. I went to see a friend, a really good friend who lives near Clapham. And I was like, I couldn't cope. And I just like, my ticket to freedom was gone. And my ticket to helping him, something I really genuinely loved, was gone. And I was angry. I was angry with God. I was angry with Alan. I was angry for next few months. I was angry. But that led to an inward depression. And it was only after I went back to talk to my friend again, she became my mentor, my Portuguese friend, that I started to realize that I've got to get myself out of this situation. I'm in a mess. And I did. I started to do more of the meditation workshops. I got my intuitive mentoring stuff back online, and I just started to do what I wanted to do, but it was without Al. And, you know, and he was beating the alcoholism. That's why this was so hard, because we were at the top of the tree and he was like, you know, he was almost there. They were waiting for him in India for a big exhibition in Mumbai. The Hindustan Times were going to write about it. And suddenly it was just gone. It was just gone. No goodbyes, nothing, just gone. So that was devastating, really devastating. And that's when I decided I need to help myself. I need to help others to move through the emotional pains that they're feeling, and to get them to even recognize that it's there, because that's half the battle. You know, half the battle is to know that there is a problem. You feel it, but you don't know how to get yourself out of it. So what can you guys learn from all this, from everything I've just said? And this is some of the things that I would do. And I put example in this, I remember what I'm going to talk about, but how do I raise my emotional intelligence? That's such a buzzword nowadays, isn't it? Emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? Well, one of the things that it definitely incorporates is self-awareness of, you know, your own inner self, you know. And I can use an example of a lady called Julie, again, not her real name, who actually was a teacher and was very, very busy lady, didn't have time even in the evenings to do anything because she was training up other kids in the evening. And she said to me, I'd love to come and see you, but I don't know if I've got the time. And I said, well, I'm going to leave you to make that decision. Use your emotional intelligence. And if you want to still contact me, let me know. And she did, but it took her a while, but she did contact me. And she ended up staying for 5 years, which was amazing. And now she's a great leader in her own right, helping kids, progressing onto other levels. It's really good to see that happening. And it was with a tailor-made program that we kept working on and working on. She came to all the meditation workshops. So it was great. And the second point I want to make here, what else we can learn, is how to listen to yourself more. How do you listen to that little inner voice that you know is there, your gut, you know? And why is that even important? Well, Bob came to see me. Again, that's not his real name. And he was married to a lady from a completely different culture. And he was a Muslim and she was a Hindu. And they just had challenges from the word go, major, major challenges. And he was really stuck when he came to see me. So we developed a way to work forward. We developed a program. And I said, Bob, you need to learn to love yourself. And first he looked at me like, huh, what are you talking about? You know, but eventually he softened through the sessions. He was learning to be that process I was talking about, being kinder to himself. He learned to be kinder to himself. And that actually helped him. That was like the window that helped him to see where he needed to go with his partner, with his wife. And he moved on from that situation, you know, with grace, you know, whereas before he was fighting it every day. There was a battle. So guys, I want to now propose something for you guys to go through this short little process with me, if you're open for it. It's a gift really to tap into your inner intuition, because I'm going to ask you, we can do a little few-minute meditation here. And if you've never meditated before, that's okay. Just sit there with your eyes open and just think. But if you have meditated before, or even if you've done a basic meditation like Calm or Headspace, that's absolutely fine. I just want you all to now sit back and just be a little bit relaxed and just think about those 3 things I asked you to write about where you're stuck. Bring one thing to the forefront now and just relax, close your eyes, close your eyes. Take a little deep breath in. Take a little deep breath in. Inhale and exhale again. And just relax, keep your spine straight as much as you can. If you have a problem with your back, then just be mindful of that. Take another deep breath in and exhale. Just feel everything relax. And do that as many times as you need to. Just feel yourself relaxing, your body relaxing, your shoulders dipping down. Take that deep breath in, exhale. And now I just want you to imagine yourself. Just imagine yourself standing on a beach. It's a beautiful sandy beach. Keep breathing. Take a deep breath in and exhale. And as you're standing on that beach, I want you to start walking on the beautiful beach. The sun is warming you. And you can hear the waves lapping on your right-hand side. And the water is a beautiful turquoise color. And you're alone on this beach. And as you're walking, I just want you to stop before you, and on the sand there's a bottle, a piece of paper and a pencil. I just want you to pick up those 3 things. And take another deep breath in and exhale. Just really feel yourself there. Just imagine the sand between your toes. Imagine the smell of the fresh air and the salt in the air. And then I just want you to write down, whether you sit in the sand or whether you're standing, just turn and face the ocean and write down one thing on that piece of paper that is keeping you stuck. And then when you've done that, just fold up that piece of paper and put it into the glass bottle. And just know in yourself that when you throw that bottle into the ocean, you're letting that thing go for now, so that it doesn't bother you. Just get it out of your thoughts. Throw it into the universe. So just throw that bottle when you're ready. Throw it into the ocean. Imagine yourself just letting it go. And just feel that release of tension leaving your body and your mind. Take another deep breath in and exhale. And then step back. Just really feel that something's gone from you at this moment in time. You don't have to search manically for the answer. Just know that it will come to you. So you can either walk back up the beach, or you can stay where you are. Take another deep breath in and exhale. Calm down your body, your heart energies, any other energy that you're feeling. And when you're ready, just bring your awareness back to the room where you are, back into your hands, back into your feet, and just open your eyes. So I hope everybody got at least a little bit of relaxation from that. But that's a very small tool to show you. And I normally take people through a lot longer process, but because of time constraints, I can't do that here. But that is one of the first steps into just tapping into yourself and kind of learning to trust the process that is inside you. Right. So this is my final slide, and it's my call to action, really, to kind of tell you guys what I'm offering at the moment. And I've offered different prices for different things. But what I'm offering at the moment is a 90-minute intuitive soul mentoring session, which includes a reading, if you're open to that, and other tools as well, to get you to shift from where you are to where you would like to be. That's usually £147 for the whole 90 minutes, but until midnight on Sunday, this Sunday, it is actually £99, and it's a no-brainer offer that I'm putting out there, really, because I want it to be something simple to reach people, and I want it to be also something that is going to be greatly beneficial to people. And you can purchase a session voucher at my website, which is www.inspiringmypath.com/soul.html. We have to put that bit in because otherwise it wouldn't work. But if you've got any questions, guys, I'm really open to hearing from you. And I've loved doing this presentation. I want to say thank you to John and to all the other people who've been on today, because they've been really good. And it's a bit weird doing it from your living room, but you know, that's the space that we're in right now, and at least the sun is shining right in here. So thank you so much, and God bless you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful day wherever you are. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah.
Hi, John.
Thank you very much. That was amazing.
Welcome.
The meditation was sending me into a nice deep place there.
I know you want to stay there, don't you?
I even forgot to send you another time. Oh, how long we had left on the speech. Thanks you so much. Very, very informative. I'm sure people have taken a lot of positives away from that. We did get one, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for?
Comment.
Comment, that's the word. Meditation and living in the present work's a treat.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's beautiful.
So thank you very much. We're going to return in a very short time for any Q&As. We've got a couple of questions that from earlier. If you've got any, do pop them into the chat box. We're going to leave this version of Life Mastery Part 4 running. I think we've probably got about another hour before it shuts us down. So we will take questions around about 4 o'clock, looking to finish about 4:30. So thanks very much again, Hannah. I will just pop you back into the waiting room.
Thank you.
And yes, you're right. It's been a bit weird talking about all this stuff on a computer.
Done really well. It could have been far worse.
But hopefully once we all get back to normal, we'll have a nice live stage event to do, as this one was going to be in the first place.
That'd be amazing.
And yeah, we can really connect with the people that are watching as well. Thanks again. I will speak to you again in a little while.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Okay, so that's more or less it for the speakers today. I'm just going to finish off with a little bit myself. You may have watched me earlier on when I was talking about the people program, and a picture of my cat came up on the screen. So I'm just going to finish off where we were talking about my cat. So that's my cat, that's Amber. She likes to do a little bit of sunbathing. But the point of the photograph isn't specifically for you to say how cute the cat is, but just to make a little bit of a point. When I was talking this morning, we were talking about how your brain works, and when it comes to change, it's quite difficult. I touched on the idea of putting those brakes on, and the procrastination resistance can kick in. So when you're sitting there calling yourself lazy because you're not getting up and doing the things that you know you could be doing, I just want you to tell yourself that there is no such thing as lazy. There is a reason to, and there a reason is to not. And procrastination is about motivation. It's whether you're going to do it or whether you're not going to do it. And Tony Robbins says your motivation to change needs to become more powerful than your motivation to stay the same. So basically what he's saying by that is, if you've got a way of doing things and that's what you do, then for you to be able to do something else, your motivation needs to be higher for you to be able to make the changes that you need to make. If your motivation to stay the same, such as your belief systems, because it's something you normally do, it's your pattern, then you will stay in the same space. So how do you motivate yourself to change? Well, we've talked about a lot about this today. I think every speaker has touched on it in some way, shape or form. It's about getting yourself into the right space for yourself. The most important changes that you can make are the changes that you make in your own life, and they're the ones that you make in your own mind. In a part of my book, one of the chapters in my book is, if you want to try and change everybody else, then good luck with that, because it's practically impossible for you to do. You can help people to change by changing yourself, because if your behavior changes, then generally their behavior needs to change as well. But if you are looking to change your relationships, then you need to look at how you can change yourself first. If you keep doing something and that suits that other person, then they will keep doing what they're doing because you meet together in the middle quite nicely. But if that doesn't suit you anymore, then you need to consider the changes that you can make. Now, considering those changes is a really difficult thing to do if you are stuck in an unhealthy space, if you don't have the motivation to do it. So how can you be motivated? Well, one thing you could try, which is quite an easy thing, is when it comes to making small changes, is just to think about what you want. That may sound quite simple, but when I speak to my clients, a lot of the time they actually don't really know what they want. It's one of the things we don't take a lot of time thinking about. And as I mentioned to you earlier on, I spent a lot of my time thinking about what I didn't want, and I kept finding that, and all the things that maybe would have been good for me would pass me by. So I would suggest that you write down a want list, and then start to think how you can achieve that want list. One thing you can do if you are sitting around or if you are stuck and you really feel like you need to be doing something is try the 5-second rule. What we do with the 5-second rule is trying to change your mindset. So when we do that, we're trying to activate the conscious part of your brain, your doing part of your brain, which allows you to get on with stuff even if you don't really want to. So what you need to do is if you're sitting around and you don't really know what to do with yourself, you know you could be doing something but you're not doing it, then I suggest you use the 5-second rule, which is just counting down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just get up and move. This will activate your doing part of your brain. It doesn't really matter if you know what you're going to do, but I would suggest before you get up, you think about, I need to do this, I want to do that. I could be doing this, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up and move. Because as soon as you do that, you'll activate the part of your brain which is doing part. Your brain will say to you, well, what are we going to be doing then? And then you can just tell yourself what you're going to do. It's just a simple trick that you can try in order to be able to help yourself immediately, especially at these times of lockdown when we're getting a bit fed up and a bit bored and there's only so many things you can do. But to try that now and see what you can achieve just by changing that. Just like to finish off with a little bit, well, actually a big bit of information. And it's the most valuable bit of information that seems to help people to take away that can make the biggest change in your life. And it's quite a simple little piece of information. And that is to never take anything personally. Now that's a tough thing to do. I used to be a proper sensitive little soul. When I was joined the fire service back in 2001, I would be very sensitive about anything at all, and everything that everybody did would make me feel quite emotional. So much so that after a short time of being there, I didn't want to be doing it anymore and really wanted to leave. And that's because I was taking everything personally. Everything that everybody did, I was being affected emotionally by. But you never have to take anything personally, ever. The reason that that is the case is because nothing that anybody ever does is actually personal. They may be aiming it at you, so you may be on the receiving end of their behavior, but everybody has a need. Everybody acts out of their own needs, and therefore what they're doing is actually trying to get them something. So what you can do is the next time that somebody does something which you have an emotional reaction to, as well as checking in on yourself, is just checking on the motivation of the people that are doing it. They will be trying to achieve something if they are trying to make you feel bad or if they're trying to make you feel good. So I'm a nice person because I want to be a nice person. The need in me to be nice is met when I'm being nice. And if I was being a horrible person, it's because the need in me to be horrible is being met. So therefore, if I'm being horrible around you, it's because it's something going on within me which makes me want to be that way. And it's not about you. You may be part of it. Like I said, you may be something that I feel towards you or think about you, which is causing me to behave in that way. But if I'm aiming it at you, it's my stuff. So if you are able just to take a step back, and this will be really helpful in your relationships if you've got ones that you struggle with especially, and just think about, okay, why is this person doing this? What is it about them that means they need to act up in this way? And then see if that can help you to not take it personally. I'm not saying it won't be hurtful. I'm not saying it might cause you any pain at all. But it may be that you can take a step back and say, okay, this is not about me. They're trying to achieve something here. How can I choose to be? And that's what I'd like to finish on with you today, is just this little point, is that you always have a choice. no matter what it feels like sometimes, again, especially a lockdown where we are unable to do things that we really want to do, is just to recognize that you always have a choice. What you think and how you feel is always your choice. It may be more difficult at times to choose to have a positive thought, but you do always have the ability to make choices. Don't let anybody take away your freedom. Don't let anyone take away your voice. Know that you always have a choice and you have a right to voice that and act it out if you want. Thank you for watching today. As I said before, I hope it's been super useful for you. All the speakers are going to be here in a moment. They're all waiting in the waiting room to take your questions. Just have none in the box at the moment. I've got a couple from earlier on. So if you have any questions, please do jot them down into the chat box. And I shall bring the speakers in one by one. I'm going to start this a little bit early. I have sent some details out to people to come back to watch. Let me just see who's in the room. Okay, so we have some of the speakers in the room waiting. So let me all bring them all out now. We can say a little thank you to everybody as well, right? Hello. So Hannah, if you're watching, can you come back? Let me just put a little group message out. Hi, Terry. Hi. We've lost somebody. Can you come back? Let me just put a little group message out. Okay, can you turn the volume down on your YouTube, please, whoever's got that going on in the background?
Yeah. Fine.
Okay, everybody's here. I'm not sure. There's no questions for Natasha at the moment. So I've actually got a question for Tammy and a question for Lubna. And these were both asked by the same person. So I hope that person is still here. Again, we have no other questions. So Tammy, can you answer this, please, if you can? From your talk earlier on, someone wanted to know, how do you make sure you are taking the right steps to achieve a desired result?
Just plug my speaker in so you can hear me better. How do you know you're taking the right actions? I suppose it depends in what aspect you're talking about, but I work with women in business. So if you're talking about a business aspect, then I wouldn't get hung up on taking the right actions. I would say take any action and then learn from it, because anything you do in life, you get something from it, which is fantastic, or you learn a lesson from it and then you can readjust. So I suppose that goes with relationships as well, and families, and I suppose it goes for everything. Try it, take a piece of action that feels right for you. I would say I'm a big one for meditation. So personally, I would say if you're struggling with a decision, go somewhere peaceful, get yourself in a good place and take that decision from being in a good place rather than in a stressed place. So for example, Tony Robbins says about priming, where you're doing this, or you could jump up and down really quickly, and then you put your hand on your heart, or you just sit there and just be still and then make the decision. Don't make it when you're stressed and you're anxious and you've got all this going on, because then the decision is going to be coming from the wrong place. You want to go for a walk or meditate or listen to some fun music and then ask yourself the question, you know, should I take that action? And if it feels right, do it. Just do it, because not taking any action is going to be worse than trying to decide which action to take. And that's why a lot of people don't move forward, because they're stuck trying to decide which action rather than just taking it, learning and carrying on, moving on.
Awesome. So to make sure that you know you're taking the right steps, it's just to take some steps.
Definitely.
Figure it out. If it feels congruent, if it feels authentic, if it feels right for you, then you know that generally you're going to be on the right track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like you said, it's really important that you just decide to take those steps anyway. And I think with something I said earlier on, it doesn't have to be anything massive either, does it? It just means if you're just moving off in the right direction, if you're taking steps off in that direction or a different direction, then it's that action that counts.
100%.
Making that decision to move on. And that's a really interesting point that you made as well about take some time out before you make that decision. So get yourself into a calm space, don't react on something, make sure it's a nice measured response to your situation, and then act in from a more rational, managed space. Awesome, thank you very much. Has anyone else got anything to add to that?
Yes, actually, if I may, I would like, first of all, to thank you again. And also I would like to thank all these beautiful ladies. Really, I learned a lot from you today. Thank you so much. And also I want to second Tammy in what she said, because I know what she is talking about. From my own experience, I am the kind of person who is very impulsive. So in the past, when I get an email or a message, I tend to reply immediately. But that is not always a very good decision to make. So I had to train myself just to take a moment and back off a little bit, and then maybe try to revisit that message or that email again after 1 or 2 hours. Sometimes, you know, it depends on the content, of course. Even maybe the next day, this will give me time to think and give the proper answer. So yeah, thank you for your advice. It's right on the spot.
Luna. And Jenny, have you got anything to add?
I just want to thank you all. I learned from all of you. I think it was very good. Some of the things that you said I needed to hear today. John, this last part was really good. I really needed to hear those things. Again, with, you know, what Tammy was saying, and Hannah and Lona, I really enjoyed it, and everything, like, there were parts of your talks that really resonated with me, and I appreciate it. Appreciate to be here. Thank you.
And do you have anything to add to this question about how did you know when you were taking the right steps? Was it just throughout because it felt right to you?
I meditate as well. Sometimes it doesn't feel right. Sometimes I don't know, but I am, like Tammy was saying, I do something. I always do something rather than do nothing, because otherwise I will always wonder. And many times I made mistakes, but I still am glad that I found out.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. And the question was for Luna this morning. So do you think that you can achieve something without the right education and just having the right mindset?
Yes, absolutely. Because when you have the right mindset, then you will start looking at what you already have. It does not need to be necessarily an education or a high degree from a fancy school. Really, all you need to do is look at what you have, what you can do. If you look at so many women entrepreneurs around the world, that what you know what they do, they know how to knit, for example, they know how to sew, they know how to cook. So they are starting basically from nothing, only using what they have learned from life experiences. So I have learned that there are certain techniques where you can have clarity on what you would like to do. And very quickly, I'm going to share with you. Like, for example, you can start by doing like what they call it, bubbles of ideas. So you can write down all the ideas, everything that comes to mind, all the areas that you would like to work with. And then you start prioritizing. And then you ask yourself, which one of these top five work areas that I would like to invest in. That is really necessary, not only to invest money, but also time, and to be really dedicated to learn. So this way you can end up with 3 careers or work areas that you can start immediately. And with the course that I am doing right now, offering the ladies on several Facebook groups, we have applied this technique, and the ladies were really appreciating it, because you know, in your mind you have so many ideas and you cannot really make up your mind. But once you put that in writing, something will come up for sure. And then you ask yourself, what kind of skill set do I have right now that I can act upon it and start doing something actually?
Okay, great. So it's about, actually, what you're saying is, of course, it's all about your mindset, but it's about having the right strategy as well, I think, isn't it? So
Of course, everybody needs some. I'm sorry.
No, it's just not about putting your mind in the right space. It's actually having some kind of a practical strategy that gives you the tools to be able to kind of put your new mindset into practice.
Yes, exactly. You are right on that. But having the right mindset is only the first step of the way, because you may not have the necessary experience. You might not know how to strategize. You see, so here you need somebody to take your hand and to show you how you do all these different things. So when you have the right mindset, then you are open to learning. You see, and this is how magic starts to happen, because one step will be followed by the other. So when you have the right mindset, it's as if you have put yourself on the right path. And then you will find someone to teach you. You will find articles. You will find online free seminars like this one, for example. I'm sure so many people who are going to attend even the recording, they have heard something that resonated to them. So I'm very happy that we are doing this also for free to the people, because now we are talking to those who have the right mindset. Then they received all the lessons and experiences from us. And this is the beauty of having the right mindset.
Awesome. Okay, lovely, thank you. Anything to add for anybody about mindset and how you can achieve without the right education, perhaps? Or how do you even get the right education on certain things?
Can I add to that? So
a lot of women come to me and they say that they feel that they need to go on another course, they need another certificate. And the thing that they're looking for is confidence, because they think, if I just have that extra bit of education, if I just have that extra certificate telling me I can do it, I'll feel more confident to go ahead then and take that action. When really you have got everything you need. Like Luke just said, everyone has got a skill set. They've got something that they can do that is special and unique, and everyone is ready to go. You know, we've all had experiences, we've all got knowledge and things that we can share. And sometimes we're just looking for someone else to say, you're good enough. And we get that from another course, another certificate, when really we should be getting it from ourselves.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with that. That was me a few years ago, for sure. When I was thinking about how am I going to put myself out there to be seen, do I need to do this and do I need to do that first? When actually it just took someone to take me one side and say, you've got that.
Yeah.
Let's get on with it. So I did, and here we are. Thank you very much. Anything to add to that at all, Jenny?
Well, yeah, just that. Yeah, you can always go and do a course if that is gonna make you feel better in a way. But you know, I do my affirmations, my visualization, and that does it for me. Meditation. I say to myself those things that I want to be told. I say to myself, I love myself, I like myself, I am amazing, and it works. And I raise my vibration. And you know, is what you create your reality. That's what I believe. So yeah.
Let me just get Hannah in. Great, thank you very much. So that's the questions as far as one more just come in for Tammy. I don't know if you've got time to go through all of it or if you want to share it all on here, but someone's asked for all the rules from your book.
okay.
Where can they get hold of a copy?
So yeah, if anyone
wants my book, they just need to email me and I'll send them the ebook online. But yeah, I'm happy to go over the basics. Obviously, I won't go into it because that would take too long. But there's 5 steps. It's not so much rules, it's steps that I took to go from being anxious to being the confident person I am today. And I'm still taking those steps. So the first one is what I mentioned in my slides, is to address the problem, identify the problem, because how can you possibly fix anything if you don't know there's a problem there? The next step is to educate yourself. And that doesn't mean by, I'm not going to contradict myself, it doesn't mean by going on courses and things like that. You can read about the problem, you know, you can find out how to help yourself. The next one is acceptance. We can't be confident if we're judging ourselves and we're not happy with who we are as a person. So it's learning to accept yourself. Then my favorite step is step 4, because I think it's so important. It's to take action. And then the last one that I just touch on is the fact that we need to be healthy. You know, if we're not feeding our bodies with the right nutrients, if we're not keeping ourselves out of pain because, you know, we're not looking after ourselves, it's really hard to get the mindset that we've all said is highly important. It's all about mindset, but it's difficult to get that if you're living off of sugar and junk food and you're not moving your body. So the last step, step 5, is to just be healthy, be aware of what you're feeding your brain. And then there's a bonus bit about the law of attraction, because anyone that knows the law of attraction knows that it is vital.
Awesome. So can you just give us your email again there, so that the person that asked the question can get that from you?
It is the
motivatedmummies@hotmail.com.
Excellent. Thank you very much. That's it by the looks of it. So thank you very, very much for all of your input today. It's been a fascinating day, so much information. I hope the people that were able to stick with us have taken a lot away. I do apologize for the YouTube issue earlier on. When I read the terms and conditions, I didn't see anything about there being a time limit, but clearly there was, and it chucked us off. But here we are, managing to do it in 4 parts. Thank you for staying with us all day. Please do give us some feedback. If you'd like to contact any of the speakers about working with them, you should have all their details from earlier on. If not, you can contact myself or put a little comment in the comments box, and I'll make sure that they get their details off to you as soon as possible. Thanks again for all of your input and time. It's been a fascinating day. I hope you've enjoyed yourself as much as the nerves got the better of us at certain times. And we'll see us all again in a different space, hopefully on stage somewhere.
Hopefully, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John.
Everyone be good to themselves. Keep well, stay safe, and I'll speak to you all again soon. I'll pop you all back into the waiting room and I'll just finish up.
Thank you, John.
Bye for now.
I think we should have a drink.
Let me put you in the waiting room first. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much for coming along to Life Mastery, Find Your Path to Success. We are now done for the day. It's a bit earlier than we imagined it to be, but because of the questions not being here for us to answer, we're going to close down a bit early. If you do log on to this after it's finished and you were expecting to come back at 4 o'clock for some Q&A, then please do pop your questions into the chat box, and I'll make sure that if they're not for me, that one of the speakers does get on to the video and answer your questions if possible. Thanks again. I hope to see you all again in the future. This time, maybe next time will be live event, as this one was originally planned on stage. But if we do need to do another one before lockdown finishes, then we hope to see you there. As I said to everybody else, just be good to yourself, keep safe, be well, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.